Go for it.
Welcome to Entertainment is Dead. We're late, but we're not Steve Gibbs late. So we're still doing better than Steve Gibbs. Take that, Steve. I am Chuck. I am your host tonight. I am here to listen to your trolling, and we are on Twitch. I think Tom is monitoring Twitch. Say hello to everyone, Tom.
Hey, everybody. I'm monitoring Twitch chat, which means I'll see what you say, and I'll choose whether or not I actually respond to it. Probably won't. Just how we're rolling.
Depends on how many drinks he's had. I got Arthur Carter coming back to us. We love him. We keep having him on. He keeps, being a little bit of a train wreck on our show, and we love him. And then we keep having him back on. But he's tired tonight, so I don't think he's not gonna do anything too bad, right? Or is that still to be debated, Arthur?
I'm kind of a train wreck all the time, even when I'm snoring.
Yeah. What you drinking tonight? What you drinking, baby?
Little bit of Maker's Mark and a little bit of Dr. Pepper.
Ugh.
What?
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I didn't say fucking moonshine. What?
It's okay. I know you guys like your whiskey. I like my beer. I'll keep that. And tonight I have a special guest, Kade. Kade Call, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Kade is he produces music for Twitch channels. There's a lot of Twitch users out there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Kade?
I started a local electronic music label with a friend of mine a few years back. I make music. We are featured on a lot of Twitch channels, esports channels, lifestyle brands, just the normal whatever. Just trying to be cool, pretend like we're cool, but we're really not. But as long as you think we are, that's what matters.
We think you're cool, Kade.
I think you're cool.
We like you on here.
I'm envious of your beard, so you're instantly cool.
It's pretty hard to beat a Tom beard, and you, I think, have done it, sir.
Thank you. It's I get stopped at the airport. There are some downsides to that.
Every time.
Try being brown with a beard. You get full body cavity search.
I know. Here I am complaining, like the one time in my life.
We need to have a beard off with Arthur just so that we know when we can plan the beard off before he's going on a long trip. I'm actually just laying out my plans right now, and then we're going to get you stopped at the airport and cavity searched. Damn.
Real quick, I want to shout out Eris. I like Eris, so we'll say hi to him. Thanks for tuning into Twitch chat, man. Hope it's all good.
So tonight on the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit more about what it takes to make music for games. Then Tom is going to talk news, which I'll give him about 4 minutes.
Wow, it's upgrading. It's upgrading.
As long as we get 2 minutes of that to Xbox today and 2 minutes to PlayStation, not 3 minutes total for PlayStation and 10 seconds for Xbox.
If there was stuff going on with Xbox, he would talk about it.
Arthur made the same argument I made with you on the phone earlier. They're not releasing any news, and it's killing me.
Well, to be honest, this is just the change of pace. It's like the Lannisters have taken over King's Landing right now. So I have all the PlayStation fuckers that are Lannisters in here, and the Starks have had some heads chopped. Randy doesn't have a head anymore, and so yeah. Anyways, so Tom, why don't you tell us about what's on the fucking news?
Let's do it. Let's talk news. And also, I wanted to mention that Kade has been playing Bloodborne for the last 3 days.
Ooh,
so.
Yeah,
so
we gotta chat about that.
So we gotta chat that up.
Let me tell you what's the rest of the stuff that's on the agenda then really quick before you go. So Battlefield, we're going to talk Battlefield tonight. We're going to talk about Bloodborne. I want to mention some stuff I've seen for Xbox, but not anything too deep. But that's it. So go ahead, Tom. Talk news. Give me the news.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off with Xbox because Lance was giving me some shit. So, did anybody? I know Kade did. Anybody else watch the ominous Halo 5 Guardians teaser? They put on their Tumblr. Anybody?
I did.
Was it? I don't. So the article on Xbox's website makes it sound like it's super ominous, and I guess it does say traitor on the bullet, which is ominous.
Yeah, there's also been other media going around, people reporting that Master Chief's going to be a traitor.
Gotcha.
It's definitely going around. I saw Kotaku posted an article on it. Polygon talked about it. So that seems to be the theme of the trailer, or the.
Okay.
Teaser.
He's like the White Knight for Xbox, and I as much as I love Xbox, I really hate the persona that Master Chief represents. He really is the white knight for every nerd that gets on an Xbox, and it drives me nuts. I don't know why that is. That's all I have to say.
I see him as more of like, I don't want to say Kurt Russell, but I kind of want to say Kurt Russell. I don't know.
What
like,
the fuck? Why would you?
LA.
Yeah,
Don't you dare say
Patch
that.
under the mask.
Yeah, like he's kind of a badass. Or like even God damn it, what is his name? He's like one of my favorite people, and I can't think of the guy in Die Hard. He's in all the Die Hard movies.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you compare
He's a
both
Bruce
of those
Willis.
two? Fuck
Like,
that.
he's a
not
staple.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah,
He is a staple, but he's so bland to me. I just can't handle it.
you put Bruce Willis in a movie, and everybody comes out. You put Master Chief on a game, everybody buys the game. That's just how it works. Like that's how I see it.
So are you saying that when they make the live action movie, it needs to be Bruce Willis?
Oh my god.
Yeah?
I
Or
hope
so-
someone's listening to this.
Yeah, or Sylvester Stallone.
Hmm.
And then
All
John Lithgow can play the villain.
Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone is too like he.
Would be
Can you imagine Master Chief just talks like this the whole fucking time?
I'm sorry, is Master Chief black? I don't.
What, that was a black accent. All right.
There wasn't enough saggy lip.
Okay.
Arthur has entered the world of no bandwidth.
Oh,
yes, he has.
Oh no.
it was offensive anyway. It was dumb.
I liked it. Anyways. So, continue, Tom.
The PlayStation update was supposed to go out this week. It's the one that gives you suspend and resume. Also, 60 frame per second game sharing to your PS Vita. Haven't seen it hit yet. I checked mine a couple times today. Maybe I might be in bad luckville. Like my phone won't update, my PlayStation won't update. Maybe I'm just banned from updates.
I was talking shit, but I am a little jealous of the fact that Arthur came over to my desk today. I was like, "Hey, I've got a fucking PSP." And I'm like, "Hey, fuck you that you can play your PlayStation on your fucking PSP." Ugh.
On the
Anyway.
commode.
Uh,
You weren't happy for me, man. You were hating. You weren't participating.
hating.
You were just hating.
I am just jealous. I'm really jealous. Join the winning team, man. I can't do it. You are calling out of a tin can right now.
Well, and what's going on is it's affecting the whole Skype call, actually, which is kind of sad. But that's okay. Skype is angry at me, and that's all that matters.
All right. Keep going, Tom. Keep it going.
That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot. I mean, I want to hear about Bloodborne, because I have some specific questions to ask about it. I mean, that's really nothing else massive. Like Broken Age. Oh, the 2.5 update for PlayStation's hitting tomorrow. That's why it hasn't come out yet. So, Thursday, PlayStation update. That's really all the news. Not a lot, tons of stuff going on right now. Maybe one day it'll start exploding again, but I think right now we're kind of in that spring launch season where everything starts rolling through.
Everyone's quiet, waiting for E3 for big announcements and all that stuff.
Kade.
So, Kade, talk a little bit about Bloodborne, sir.
Yes,
Well-
I want to hear.
Let's. As a preface, I could talk probably for 17 hours straight about the Soul series in general and Bloodborne for a good portion of that. Just ask me what specific questions you have, because I might just end up rambling about stuff that doesn't matter to you.
So, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Lance.
I was just gonna say, go Arthur.
I'm getting choppy. It's the choppiness. I was just gonna ask: is it pretty much like an easier Dark Souls or Demon Souls to you? Like,
I think it's considerably harder than both.
Wow. Okay.
It's harder in the sense if you played the previous Souls games, and I played really timid, so I would always play really safe. I always played sword and board, lure enemies out one at a time, and that's kind of how I made it through. And they don't you can't do that. So the first probably 6 hours. Nah, I take that back. 2 hours I played. I probably lost all my souls. It's called Blood Echoes in this game, but it's the same thing as Souls. And they have that regain system. I don't know if you saw any of the media, like the press release. So if you get damaged by an enemy, you have a window that if you hit that enemy back, then you can regain 60% of the damage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It lasts 5. And there's no shield, so it's really aggressive. And there's no armor and there's no weight limit. Everyone's just fast. It's super, super fast, super aggressive. So It may not be harder, but for the first 2 days, I've been struggling more than I thought I would. I thought I was good, right? I've platinumed Demon Souls, platinum Dark Souls, Dark Souls 2.
Wow.
I didn't like it as much, but I still put a lot of hours into it, and I'm getting worked. I've like said all sorts of words to the TV, thrown my controller. Like it's just before the call, I was having some serious. It's hard. It's very hard.
Wow. Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Nope, you're good, Lance. You were next. Take it away.
No, go, Tom.
So one of our buddies posted that the frame rate and the load times were absolutely atrocious, and I'd love to hear your take on that.
Load times are long. They suck. I haven't had any frame rate dips, but the load time. So unlike Dark Souls, it's like Demon Souls where you have a hub area.
Okay.
And that's how you. And there's not fast travel between bonfires. There are lamps in this one, and so going to the hub area, it's like a 20-second load time, which isn't horrible. It's a little long, but going from the hub area to an actual playable area is 40 to 60 seconds.
Wow.
And when you die, you go back sometimes to the hub area, so you have to go through 2 loading screens before you can play again. And so that's another reason why you get so frustrated, because there's a lot of wait time if you die. Not only do you lose everything, it makes the pressure because you hate waiting. And so there's just that now I got to sit and look at a loading screen, and I'm pissed, and I have to just sit here and think about how I died and how frustrated I am.
It sends you to your room and makes you think about what you did, is what it does.
Exactly. That's what it does.
Oh, my God.
Punishing game. It sounds like Ninja Gaiden when it first came out combined with the other Dark Souls.
Combined with, like, the Midnight Club 3 load screens on PS2. Anybody remember that? It was so bad.
It's not fast as Ninja Gaiden, but that game was really difficult, too. I remember getting frustrated.
Yeah.
The black version, Ninja Gaiden Black, was just stupid.
No.
Combined with Darkest Dungeon.
I think that.
Arthur's pretty salty about Darkest Dungeon, I think, still.
Isn't that a green light? Isn't that an early release?
Yeah, but it's so hard. Much like you talked about throwing your controller, being angry, same thing. Just want to scream.
Guys, I've had a great time this week. I haven't wanted to throw my controller once, so I can't wait to talk about fun games.
I got my chocobo last night, and I've been running around Eorzea with a little smile on my face. So all was
surprised you didn't come into work going, chocobo!
I was humming the song all day. Yeah, it plays that while you ride around the countryside. It's pretty great.
So let me ask, do you feel like Bloodborne is worth the money?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How far into the game are you?
I've beaten 4 bosses now, so I'm pretty far. I'm level 35. I don't know how long the game is, so I'm probably 20-30% into it.
Okay.
But I don't know what gripes you guys had with Dark Souls 2, if any, but the game was a little bit of a letdown for me. I didn't like how the world wasn't cohesive and put together in a way that like Dark Souls 1 was. Like if you take the map, there's people that have taken the collision data from Dark Souls 1 on all the environment and put it together, and everything is like works in 3D. It's a real world. Whereas Dark Souls 2, like the physics don't work. Like you go down an elevator in a castle, and then there's sky above you in a new area. It doesn't really make sense. So in Bloodborne, it's like the city, the environment is like a masterpiece. It's just dripping with ambience, and sometimes I just walk around and just don't do anything. I just look. It's a really, really cool style, and the combat's fast paced. The only things that I'm slightly a little worried about is there's not as many weapons. Like enemies don't drop weapons. And I read a review on Kotaku where I think it was Kirk. Kirk was like 60 hours in the game, and he was still using the starting weapon. So I don't know if there's as much diversity. That you can upgrade them, and it just doesn't seem to be as many items, and there's not as many upgrade trees. Like in Dark Souls, you had all these different embers and all these different materials to take your weapons certain directions, and you had like the blunt, you had the rare, you had the dull.
Sounds like somebody's eating a sandwich right now. Sorry. I don't know. What's that noise? I don't know what that was. But it's gone now. I was getting some...
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I heard it again. What is that? It sounds like somebody's touching a mouse pad, maybe. Ah! There we go. I don't know.
Anyway.
And,
okay, continue.
And long story short, it's for sure worth it. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I got it like midnight in got to work out the next day. So for me, I already had decided that it was worth it, but I had really, really high expectations, and so far they've been met. So I would be safe. I would feel comfortable recommending it to anyone that's enjoyed the past games that it's worth the money.
Yeah, so I was on an older podcast that died called Castroided, rest in peace. And one of the things that we did on that was called Challenge Accepted, and they challenged me to play Dark Souls 1. I had never played any of it. And I didn't do any research. I was just like, fuck it. I'm amazing. I'm going to do this game. No big deal.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I played so many games. It's not a big deal. So I played it, and I could tell after about, I don't know, I probably played it 3 or 4 hours, and I was like, okay, this game, I was really interested in it. I would love to go back and play that if I didn't play a bazillion other things, but I could tell it's a huge, huge time commitment, time sink, and it's really, really fun. And if I ever wanted to go back to playing a game by myself, I would probably play that game. And I'd probably throw my controller a few times, but I'm also a very careful player too. I've played plenty of MMOs. I've played a lot of games where you pull mobs, things like that, and so I could relate. But I could definitely see where that game's a pain in the ass. I enjoy watching people play it. I just don't want to play it myself. Sometimes I watch Twitch. I watch people play that. But I watched some stuff for Dark Souls 2. And I didn't know that it was that big of a deal. I didn't know it was that big of a letdown. But yeah, I'm really interested. When I actually do switch over and go back to PlayStation 4, I won't switch, but I'll get a PlayStation 4 eventually. And that's on my list.
Good catch.
I'm glad that one's gonna be better than what was the other one that just came out not too long ago? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago?
Oh, 2 weeks ago? A PS4 game that came out?
Yeah, it was another It wasn't Bloodborne. It was. Oh, anyways.
Was it an RPG?
The Order? Oh, The Order of Bloodborne.
The Order.
Yeah.
It got. I was never interested in it. It got such bad reviews. I didn't bother to try it.
I'll wait till it's like $5.
Yeah.
It's 40 right now. Still too much.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jacob seems to think otherwise. Like, he's been talking that game up pretty heavily.
Well,
But
Jacob,
he also
on
got
this
it
podcast and defend it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Tom.
and he also got it for free.
That's true.
Son of a
He did
bitch.
not pay any money for it. Eris, you were correct. It is The Order.
Have you guys? Have any of you guys played the older Souls games?
Yeah.
I've bought them both, and they're just sitting in my Steam library.
I have
hanging out.
something like the Prepare to Die edition, and I'm just like, when do I want to prepare to die? Like, when do I want to die?
If I can convert you guys, it's one of those games that if it clicks for you, it becomes like an obsessive cult. Like the Reddit threads, the NeoGAF threads surrounding those games, like people, it's like people live, eat and breathe the Souls games. There's so much lore, and I don't know. I did not want to play. I bought Demon Souls when it came out on PS3, and because someone said, "Oh, it's a great RPG." I grew up playing JRPGs. I love old school RPGs. Did not know what to expect, and it was super hard, and I gave up like 10 hours, not even 10 hours, 2 hours in. And then my brother challenged me, just like you. He challenged me to play Dark Souls 1. And I don't know how far you got, but in the beginning, there's the first, it's called Firelink Shrine, where the first fire is. And the way I would go is I'd go down to this graveyard where skeletons are, and that's for later in the game. And I had heard the game was hard, so I kept going to this graveyard over and over again, thinking like, okay, I heard this was hard. I can get through this, and it was impossible. And so much anger, and then I called my brother and I was like, "This is stupid. No one, like, I can't believe people beat this game. It's so hard." And he told me where to go, and it probably took me about 10 hours until it finally clicked. And then from then on, like, it almost ruined other games for me. That's how much. And usually when I talk to someone who's into the Souls games, it's pretty common that like, if it clicks for you, it really clicks for you.
Well, I mean, it takes the whole MMO basis, but I want to say, remind me if I'm wrong, but on the characters when you actually encounter them, it doesn't say their level over their head, right? No. So that's where the punishment is, because I picked that up after about, I don't know, a couple hours, I was like, okay, well, it wasn't a couple hours, but after getting punished a few times, I was like, I can't go in here. These guys are way higher level, so I would just go to a different area and start from there. I don't know where I was going. I was just like running around in different areas and checking them out. But yeah, I know what you mean. And Tom could probably relate to this. Like my first experience was like probably what 10 years ago when we were playing World of Warcraft for the first time, and I could not get it through my big fucking skull that like I couldn't kill a thing that was like 5 levels higher than me. And so I just remember like at the beginning area of the night elf, because we started out as night elves because we didn't know any better. For the horde. I just want to say like we figured it out later and we switched sides and I never went back. But like there was these named characters in like the really low level area and I just wanted to kill it so bad. And me and Tom probably died. I don't even know how many times we died in that. That was my punishment. So Dark Souls didn't punish me as bad as it probably punished people that hadn't played an MMO or anything like that. But yeah, I can relate to that.
Well, it retrains you as a gamer too. I mean, you're so easy to games that hold your hand. Press A for combat, like press B to get through the story.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I went through the same graveyard area too in the game you mentioned, and I was like killing the smaller skeletons, but then the giant one that would assemble would just melt my face, and I got
I
really
remember
pissed.
that. Yeah.
And so I was finally, after a bunch of times of dying, I was like, oh wait, the game does not want me to be here yet. Like, and so I kind of learned to be a little more self-sufficient. But I mean, earlier you mentioned how immersive those games are. I mean, seriously, talk about feeling alone as like a lone adventurer. Like, I remember I was buying like armor or I was buying items from a vendor, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm fucked. Like he's gonna take all my souls. I'm not gonna have any souls left to level up my skills. Like I'm totally screwed. And so yeah, like it just is this such a deep game. I love it. So I'm glad you're having fun with Bloodborne.
I'll have to, yeah. I think Bloodborne will be a down the road purchase for me just because I'm so buried in everything else right now. But
yeah.
Another thing that games do really really well is they don't tell the story in narratives at all. Like have you played Gone Home on the PC?
Nope.
It's on my list.
Or The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. Any of those?
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter was so sick.
Okay, but that's a little more. That has like direct narrative, but similar to Vanishing of Ethan Carter, all of the Souls games, like you learn the story from the environment.
Yeah.
Like, there's no cutscenes. There's not a whole lot of dialogue. It's you picking up items, reading descriptions, reading notes, seeing cues in the environment. Yeah. And then the internet will come together and people will figure things out. And I remember the first time I watched like a story explanation of Dark Souls, I had beat the game and I missed like 80% of all the clues that were in the game. And people were inferring this this narrative that I was completely oblivious to. So it's made me, it's like Arthur was saying, it retrains you as a gamer. It doesn't hold your hand. Like you have to be really observant. It won't tell you what to do. Even in Bloodborne, there's a bunch of new mechanics. There's no tutorial. Zero. It's just sort of like figure it out, push buttons, find out what to do. And you can kill NPCs. Like the person that you spend to level up your souls and get stats, you can kill it and break the game. Like they don't put any like, it's brutal. And in fact, it's so weird. The Souls games are full of cookie cutter bad game design, but that's what makes them so fun.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
No, that's the same reason I played a lot of like Aliens, Colonial Marines online, and everybody's like, "Oh, Colonial Marines," but like sometimes the broken nature of a game is what draws me to it. Sometimes games can get too over polished, but then you look at, I don't know. I guess I take that back because I think of a Blizzard game and I'm like, fuck, I'd play any of those games because they are so perfect.
Yeah.
So, and I want to have sex with all of those games.
All right. Well, with that, we should move into the game soundtrack discussion.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll break up the monotony, and then we'll talk about Battlefield after. So, why don't you can you elaborate for me, Kade, what it looks like to design some of these gamer titles, like some of the music for these Twitch channels and whatnot?
It goes two ways. Sometimes people will just look at your back catalog and just choose something that fits. And then sometimes people want like a specific vibe, and they'll show you example tracks and say, can you make me something like this, something that sounds like that? If they do that, usually they just buy the track from you outright, so you ghost produce it. So I'll make the track for someone, but it won't be released under my name. It'll just be whatever they want to do with it. They buy it. They pay me to make it as like a product. So it kind of depends. Most of the time, though, it's someone just looking at a back catalog or messaging me and saying, hey, I want to license a song to use for a channel or for a YouTube video. And then a lot of times for actual game makers, we'll just say, hey, I like your style. Can you make me some tracks for a game? And they'll send you like prototype footage or a demo that you can play to give you some inspiration, and then you make it.
How many hours does it take you to usually make a track for somebody?
Probably 3 sit-downs of 2 to 3 hours, so 9 hours.
It's some time invested.
So with that, I mean, obviously that's a hell of a lot of work. I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about maybe some of our favorite game soundtracks and stuff that like kind of drives us. I know one game getting a lot of hype for its soundtrack right now is oh my god, Miami.
Ori,
Hotline Miami 2.
Hotline Miami 2.
Hotline Miami 2.
Yeah.
So good.
Has a great soundtrack. Ori and the Blind Forest, I think, has a gorgeous soundtrack.
That's just a gorgeous
Did you
game.
pick that up, by the way, Tom?
I haven't bought it yet, no.
You need to.
Dude, my list, I have, I mean, just my Steam library is 200 games I haven't played, so I'm really backlogged. But I will get on that one. I still need to finish. Another game that I thought was just gorgeous was Dust and Elysian Tale, which is very similar, I think, to Ori. But so, Kade, what are some of your favorite game soundtracks?
So in preparation for the podcast, I kind of split them into two. I grew up playing a lot of old school RPGs, so I could easily fill up 20 titles just in that category. If I try to mix it up, I would say the most under-deserved soundtrack would be a game on PS3 called Nier. It was a game from Squaresoft. It was really weird.
Oh, that's right. Spelled N-I-E-R, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it did very well commercially. It was a really, really, really weird game. Killer soundtrack. Complements the game. You'd have to play it to understand it. But a more popular one that I played recently was Darksiders 2.
Oh, yeah. That's on my list. Yeah,
that it had like it was like taking Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, like social network type soundtrack, like really dark and electronic, but also adding a world flavor, like congos and like ethnic beats, but also dark and gritty.
Nice.
Which I thought was a really unique take on music. But I think recently my favorite is probably, I don't know how to say this, so don't laugh at me. I've always called it Deus Ex. Is that how you pronounce it?
I think so, Deus Ex. Yeah.
Deus Ex, yeah. The new one, the director's cut.
Okay.
Machina. Okay, yeah.
That's like, that game just all around. Everything meshes together. The visuals, the music, the gameplay, the story. I'm a sci-fi freak, but those are probably the most common ones. Old school, I don't know, if you guys played RPGs, which ones have you played and which ones did you like the soundtracks?
I mean, my favorite RPG soundtrack still to this day is Final Fantasy VI. The music from that, like, I can hear 2 notes and I know exactly what's going on in the game. It's so memorable. But I think also, I mean, I've played Final Fantasy VI 30 times. You know, I break it out all the time and play it. So that, I think RPG-wise, that's probably the most memorable soundtrack for me. I thought Chrono Trigger has a pretty memorable soundtrack, but it just didn't resonate with me like Final Fantasy did. Those are probably my favorite classic RPG soundtracks.
What do you think makes a good? Is it that something in your head, you get a melody and you can?
I think it's I think for me, a melody in the head. I also think, you know, if like some of these soundtracks, like there's a really cool band they played at PAX. They're called the Super Guitar Bros. And they do just acoustic rock versions of just video, you know, NES and SNES games. And all the Final Fantasy stuff they're playing from the 16-bit and 8-bit stuff is so deep for being made on, like, basic MIDI, you know? They're using just MIDI synths and trying to make this stuff happen, and it's got so much depth to it that when you move it to, like, a big classical piece or even just classical guitar, it just sounds so full. So I thought that was something that's pretty... They're not really adding anything to it, but they're making these gorgeous suites of music with, you know, digital notes essentially. So,
okay, I took down a couple notes here.
Okay.
for classic games, Castlevania 1.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's like that
sure.
level 2 on Castlevania 1 was like my favorite. I actually had that soundtrack around here somewhere.
Well, and, like, how will you ever forget like da 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 da.
So good. And then Link's Awakening for Game
Oh
Boy.
yeah.
Anyways.
Are you thinking? Oh, yeah, anything Link to the Past? Or
Yeah, Link to the Past.
Okay.
Link's Awakening. Yeah.
Link's Awakening DX
Link's-
on the GBA.
No, it's
Which is a remake
the
of Link's to
original.
the Past.
It's original. It was. Shut up. Anyways, whatever. I just went all Nintendo fanboy on you and fucking lit you up. Fuck off. Couple other games that I mean, not like designed for the game, but Burnout 1, the soundtrack for that, like that's what made. I don't play racing games.
Yeah.
But that, like, combined with car crashes and shit, was so much damn fun.
I think that and Tony Hawk were like the first.
just
instance
I was
of,
actually
like,
just gonna say
yeah.
Tony Hawk. Yeah.
Tony Hawk 2 for views.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It had
What
Rage
was
Against
it?
the Machine. That's all.
That's right. Yeah.
In Tony Hawk 1, it was what was it? Suicide Machines.
Yep. Suicide Machines, and then it had a Superman by Goldfinger.
Oh yeah.
Like, did. Oh man.
That burned me the fuck out on Goldfinger.
I
for
know,
sure.
right? Because it was like every other song they like. They must have paid more for that track than the other one. Because I feel like it came on like
That
every
one
other.
and Suicide Machines, yeah, those two. If you had it on, I had it on Nintendo 64, so there was only like 2 or 3 songs. It was bad, but yeah, and it was funny because the other day, Hank wanted me to download like Crazy Taxi or something, and it has that same kind of layout. So it had like some punk rock bands playing in the background, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, fuck, I would hate to be that punk rock band right now that's like 10 years later and I'm featured on like Crazy Taxi for the iPad like for free. Like where's the royalty in that? Like I don't know. But I mean maybe they're making something off of it. So I hate to say that, but I was thinking that I'm like punk is dead for the 3rd time, I'm pretty sure.
Hey now.
So
Didn't die. It went to Tony Hawk.
I guess whatever.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 13 will have the
I
best.
think I
punk-
was like 3rd generation punk rock. Like I went to the Warped Tour in '97, and yeah.
I saw Cake. They were awesome.
Hey! There
No,
will
I'm
be
just
no
kidding.
making fun of Cake on this
I like
podcast.
it a lot.
I
Yeah,
do
okay,
too. I
yeah.
just
Dude,
There became
So-
a time where you didn't want to talk, like you didn't want to say like I like Beck, I like Cake, and now we're
man.
old as fuck, and
I'm-
all those
Oh, yeah.
bands are.
I was
Yeah.
I was driving home tonight listening to NPR like you do, and they were
because you're an old man.
I'm an old man.
Old man.
Well, and they were doing the story on how the guy from Top Gear got fired for punching his producer and being an all-around asshole.
Wait,
and,
is this Top Gear in Europe? Or?
Yeah, like the big.
No.
Yeah, he like screamed at his producer for 20 minutes and punched him in the face. So they finally fired him, and
No.
I guess he's
I
just
love
been
that show.
he's just a tool. But after they did that interview, they played the guitar riff from Cake from I think it was Austrian Nobleman. And I was like, shit, yeah, Cake, like cranking up the radio for that 30-second cutaway. I was pretty excited. That's all.
I really like Cake. I don't think anyone thinks Cake is their favorite band, but how could you hate Cake? It's
Sure.
so just simple, catchy.
Dude, when they first came out, I had Rock and Roll Lifestyle. I had that CD.
Yeah,
What was
dude.
it called? But side note for
Fashion
Cake.
Nugget? Is that on Fashion
I
Nugget?
think no, Fashion
Fashion
Nugget was the
Nugget,
second
yeah.
one, I think. They actually played this kid's bar mitzvah. He like asked them. He sent him a mail. You know, this is back in the day when we didn't do email.
He strapped it to a carrier pigeon and flew it out
He
there.
he put it on. He put it on a crow or a owl, whichever fantasy world you're from. So, anyways, the kid asked him to play his bar mitzvah, and Cake came out and played his fucking bar mitzvah.
So cool.
Yeah, pretty badass. That was like in the 90s, I think, though.
I hope they played Italian leather sofa and offended all the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boobs that bounce.
On an Italian leather sofa.
So I was gonna get a couple
Dun,
more, too.
dun. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Arthur. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. I was being dumb. So I love some of the classic ones, like Sonic the Hedgehog. I really
yeah.
love some of their old games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the casino world.
Yeah.
That was dope.
I would have to say the old Road Rash on Sega Genesis.
Oh, man,
They have
yeah.
a really
Okay.
awesome song by Soundgarden. I think it's Rusty Cage or whatever. That was the first time I ever heard that song, and I was in love with it.
Yeah.
And Donkey Kong, man. All those old Donkey
Oh,
Kong
yeah.
games. There's one song called Aquatic Ambience.
Yes. That one's so good.
So good.
There's
I
a
could
bunch
listen
of
to
good
this day.
remixes of that
The
online.
sad thing is, when you said Donkey Kong, I immediately thought of like original Donkey Kong, but you're talking
yeah.
like
Donkey
was it
Kong
Super
Country.
Nintendo?
Yeah.
Country.
Dude,
Just
Donkey Kong Country has some great stuff.
Yeah, that's
Well,
great.
have you heard that guy who does a cappella for like all the
What?
old
Smooth the
songs?
Groove.
No.
The guy
Yeah.
Yeah. The
In the
bomb.
Is
He
it the-
does aquatic ambiance.
Is
and
it the
it's
guy
really-
that dubs himself over everything? Like, has like
Yeah.
16 dubs himself? Okay, yeah. He does my favorite version of Guile's theme.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Giles theme too. Got to get
Oh
that in.
yeah, we got to talk about Street Fighter. I mean, for
Dude,
sure. Let's get that shit in there.
Think about it. Guile's theme, like when you say it's a joke that it goes with everything, but I challenge you to think of one instance in your life where if the Guile's theme started playing, it would not be 30 times more epic and better. Doesn't exist. Does not exist.
I have
Taking a shit.
I
Giles
have
theme.
done that. I've
Yep.
gotten in fights to Giles themes. I've had one night stands to Guile theme.
It's the life soundtrack.
Sat in my apartment, cried by myself to Giles
So,
theme. It's totally
What about divorce? Like going through a divorce,
So-
like Giles thing.
Dude, you sign that paper.
Hearts. Dun, 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 dun.
No, it's like this. You're signing the papers. Dun, 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 and then you blow them all over the desk. So, so on a non-divorce related subject, I think this is one we've left off, and I have to get it in. But I think Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah, the
Has
first
ink.
one.
It's most of the music is done by Combi Christ, who
Oh,
I think is a really really good like industrial artist.
That made me think about Quake 1. I forgot about Trent Reznor did the original
Oh, yeah.
soundtrack for Quake.
Yeah.
Yep.
Forgot about that.
Well, what about that guy too who does the Hitman soundtracks? Is it Jesper? Jesper Kid. He does a
Sounds-
lot of electronic stuff too, like industrial dark
We
stuff.
should check the chat and see if anybody's mentioned anything that we were missing here.
Eris is giving us Dark Souls tips.
Oh,
Or not Dark
Don't
Souls,
play.
Bloodborne tips.
you will die.
You will die. Oh,
Roll,
I'm not good
roll.
enough for that game. But yeah, I just thought we should mention the Devil May. I think the Devil May Cry soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. And even
Yeah.
DMC has such a great. The latest one, it goes even harder. Like, and they take kind of like a more of a metal turn, which makes it great for me. I
A
really
lot
like
of people
that.
hated on that game, but I tried it out long after it came
So
out.
fun.
I liked it.
It was really good. Like, I think a lot of people had problems with like the Dante redesign, but it's like if you think about it, he's a younger, edgier Dante, so why wouldn't he have a different haircut? Like, you think this kid just had like long hanging hair from like 9 years on? Come
I
on.
think he had
He
emo.
had emo hair,
Yeah.
emo white hair the whole fucking time.
yeah.
It's like, dude, Bullet for My Valentine had to die sometime, and he was done. Like, he left.
I think some of the soundtrack too is really good, and it makes up for the bad dialogue.
Oh yeah,
Too,
the dialogue is so terrible in that
I
game.
should have filled your dark soul with light.
What? Oh god, now I don't want to play that game.
I think my favorite moment is like in the DMC is when he's screaming at like the second boss, and she's like berating him for challenging her because she's some kind of demon. And he's just like, "Fuck you!" Like that's his line. It's so I don't know.
That's
It's
the
so
lava chick, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
And he just
Yeah,
says "fuck
the-
you."
yeah. He's just like, "Fuck you" against like the Slurm demon.
Dude, one of my favorite parts of the first game I remember because there wasn't really anything Jerry Bruckheimer-esque at the time on PlayStation 2, and that big ass spider comes through the ceiling on the first Devil May Cry, and it's like talking shit to him, and he comes up and like pats it and says something like, "I bet you got something really good in there," like. It was very third wall breaking. It was awesome. That game was so good.
Devil May
And they
Cry
both
was
looked at the
awesome.
camera and winked and did the
Yeah.
guns.
Was Devil May Cry 1 was the one that ended with you like flying into hell, right? And you had to like shoot the laser beams and dodge. Is that Devil May Cry 2?
I think it was 2. You
Okay.
go into hell or whatever.
Yeah. By the
And
way,
then-
do not play the new DMC. If you buy the remaster that came out for PS4 and Xbox One, don't play Virgil's stuff first, because then like you start out with Virgil like all these powers, then you're unlocking more and becoming a badass, and then you go back in to play the original DMC, and you're starting at like square one with barely any dodges, and it's real fucking frustrating. like in the Virgil stuff, you can do like a 115 hit combo like right off the bat. And you can't do that in DMC at the beginning. So, just side note if you like to do combos.
Side note. All right, so we're moving on. I think, unless we have anything. Do we have any other questions for Kate about creating music for people?
I want to ask Cade what he thought about Bayonetta. If you played it,
I played the first one. I have not. I have a Wii U, but I haven't played the second one.
Okay.
I played it at E3 last year, the demo, and really liked it. Bayonetta is pretty dope. I wish they wouldn't have made the second one for Wii U, because I think the people who like those type of games don't own a Wii U.
I think we should send Kade as our correspondent to E3 this year, and then if he finds anything that we really, really like, we'll just store it in his beard, and he can bring it back.
Smuggle it back.
Smuggle it back in his beard.
I'm proud of you, Lance. You got a beard joking.
Yeah, I had to. Tom actually has, if you guys want to look it up, Tom has his own beard Facebook page. It's What's Stuck in Tom's Beard. So, and there's been a car. People have gone missing in Tom's beard before. Now we've got Kade, so we've got more beards. So
I think speaking of beard and hair, I don't. If you're not offended by Bayonetta's clothing being her hair that moves around and the blatant sexualization, I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah.
If that kind of stuff bothers you, or you're an activist, or they're vocal about that, you're gonna hate the game.
Yeah, and that game was like so uncomfortably sexual that it was almost funny. Like,
I'd like to think that's the point. Like, they're doing it unconsciously. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're not a bunch of just horny, weird Japanese people that are really sexist.
No, I don't think that's the case.
They probably are, but when I play it, I like to think that
the jigos. What do they call it? The jigo effect.
The jigo effect. Oh my god.
I'd like to think it's social satire and it's actually clever and smart, but it's probably not.
Yeah, but it comes off that way. So good for them for if it is an accident for accidentally making it look like social satire. Because holy hell.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the genius of it, is because it is genuine and they really are sexist, which makes the satire even funnier.
Kade, I want you to make an Entertainment is Dead song, but I want it to be very much esque from, like, say, Tales from the Crypt meets Castlevania meets Metroid. Yeah.
Is that
Classic.
the kind of shit you have to deal with when people ask you to make songs? Is it meets this,
look,
and
they all had a fucking baby.
We don't want it to be Katy Perry, but it needs to sound a lot like Katy Perry, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt.
If you would, if that were a real request, I would say, okay, send me the song you're thinking from each game, and then the clip, the part that you want. Like, you say Metroid, or which song and which part of which song. You say
man.
Clip.
I'm gonna have to go find
if you give me those examples, you can just recreate it in a different way. I mean, everything's a remix. No one's making anything original anyway.
Thank you.
Movies, music. So you just give it a new spin, combine some things, and you have an original track.
Guys, if you want a song, contact Kade.
All right,
we got his Twitter on here.
Talk about some Battlefield Hardline, so we can all go to bed.
Okay. Yes. So, I could not pass up the deal that I was given on that game. I was not going to buy it. I was finally going to boycott DICE and EA. It isn't a DICE game, so I am still boycotting DICE. I've been playing Visceral, Battlefield. Right? Yeah,
it's Visceral.
Okay. Yeah. I've been playing Battlefield since 2142. I didn't play Battlefield 2, but I played Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4. Hated Battlefield 4 with a passion. Really didn't like the direction that Battlefield 3 was going, but found some forgiveness in it. And so I was just ready to write off this series. I just feel like they saw all the money that Activision was getting with Call of Duty, and they got too far away from what was great about Battlefield and too much into the commercial fucking Jerry Bruckheimer explosions, and it took away from I just felt like it took away from, like, the multiplayer aspect, and it just became kind of a clusterfuck and a mess. Not to mention the start on Xbox One was kind of rocky, in my opinion, and a lot of people said that about every system, including PC. I don't think anybody was absolved from a rocky Battlefield 4 experience. But anyways, so that all aside, my grumpiness aside, for the Battlefield series, I couldn't pass up the deal I got. I picked up Hardline, and I am shocked how much I like it. And I like that it is Battlefield, but it's not like that. We were talking about that it's Visceral that made it. So if you're not familiar with Dead Space, and I was also very concerned because I played Dead Space Online multiplayer, and that game online, as much as I kind of had fun playing it, it was broken dog shit. It wasn't just like a broken game, but it was not very good online. Let's just say that. And I played it, around launch time. So, but yeah, I played a lot of the different game modes. They got away from Rush. They don't have Rush anymore. They did Hotwire. I think Arthur's been playing a lot of Blood Money. So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I finally got sick of just team deathmatch over and over because I was thinking that was the fastest way to rank up like weapons and things like that.
No.
Right. But I started doing Blood Money because I love a good heist. And that's been such a fun mode, like trying to steal money from a central location and get it back to your hideout. And you can actually go into the other team's hideout and jack ducats from their side, and like so fun. This is you hit it right on the head. Like it kind of got more and more Call of Duty-ish each kind of version they were releasing, and this one is kind of getting back to like a little more fun, a little more variety. So
Yeah, it
yeah.
does. It feels really fun from the get-go when I'm booting it up and it's playing BDP or KRS-One, and I'm like, yeah, I was like, that's awesome because I just really had no desire to play cops and robbers.
Hmm.
But like my experience with Blood Money was fucking hilarious. So last night I was playing, I think it was last night, and somebody got a helicopter
Hmm.
and we flew, like we kept having problems like getting money out of the heist area, so we flew a helicopter over to their base, dropped down, about 4 or 5 people get out, get a bunch of their money, put it back in the helicopter, fly it back to our fucking spot. I would hate to have been the other team. They're like, where the fuck is all of our money?
Well,
Yeah.
you talk about fun in that too. I was puppy guarding our base to, protect it from money getting jacked from the other team, and a full van full of guys pull up, but they're speeding by and I can hear the tires screeching, but their
Mhm.
radio is blaring. It's the sound of the police. Whoop
Yeah.
whoop. And I'm like, I know exactly where they are. I don't need the radar. I can just hear the radio on their van.
I
It's
love
a
that.
good.
And the funny thing is most of them don't turn it off, but you can.
Hmm.
So if I was actually going to be legit and not give away my position, I'd probably turn off the radio.
But who wants to do that? You want to have
I,
fun.
yeah, I wanna tell everybody that I'm playing KRS-One. So yeah, one thing I will say that was a downside to it, I was having some problems connecting on day one, but they've eliminated that. Second thing, which has not gone away and is really frustrating, and I hope they fix it this week. The team deathmatch. I don't know about your experience on PlayStation, but dude, I have people spawning behind me constantly. There's
Uh-huh.
some terrible spawn points on multiple levels, and I'm not talking like, like I'm talking like I'm spawning and dead, and
Yeah.
you
Oh
don't get a
yeah.
chance. You don't get a chance to like choose your spawn point. You can't spawn on
Right.
your teammates,
Right.
and that's really broken. I'm hoping they'll fix that, or they'll allow you to spawn on people, because then it's your own damn fault if you spawn on your teammates and
And you
they're in a
die.
bad spot. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, oh god, that is broken as fuck.
I've had
and
it happen, and oh, sorry, go ahead.
I do like hearing though that the game seems to be built more around fun and less around like hardcore combat, because I feel like that's one thing with Battlefield. Like as it got more towards like almost that Team Fortress style where you had dedicated roles and classes and you had to fulfill this job, it became so specialized that some of that fun went away for me trying to play it. So it's cool to hear that like dudes are rolling up, with their 40s, jumping out of the car to blast everybody like that.
Oh yeah.
At some point, you've got to have a little bit of that in the video game to make it worth playing.
So they didn't make it very ethnic, but I will say, like, if you go on like a tear,
His
if you
eyes.
if you go on a tear with I know that's a bad way to start a conversation, but like I'm damn good with a sniper rifle in that game, and I always have been. Because I always take it to Tom and I have had discussions about bullet drop with guns and how it's very unrealistic. But in this game, there's bullet drop. So, but I just fucking, you can even hear it on the stuff that I upload. But the dude talks so much shit, like where you're tagging people, because I constantly, like, I'm sniping, but I'm also tagging every single person I see, and he's like, I got this motherfucker. Like, it just all this shit. I love it.
I love it
so-
too, because I play
it's so
medic
good.
a lot. That's my
Okay.
class that I play, and
Uh-huh.
so whenever anyone's hurt, I'll be like, "Here's a med kit, motherfucker!" Like,
Yeah,
it
and he
just
says that. I love it. It's so fun. And not to mention one of the what do you call it? Unlocks like the what do you call that? Easter eggs is a couch that you get to drive around on.
Oh, okay. I haven't
Have
heard
you
about
seen
that.
anybody driving around on the couch?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, it's just two dudes. Like I've seen two dudes like floating around on a couch
That's
throughout
pretty
the whole.
awesome.
It's pretty fucking funny.
I think if you didn't tell me that and I saw that, I would just assume I was super drunk and needed to go to bed. So.
You're like, I just saw a couch in the game. I think I should go to bed. I throw up everywhere.
Cool.
So,
all right.
anyways,
well, that puts us close to our time, sir.
Yay! Oh, I was going to say a couple more things that I did this week. I signed up for the beta on Gigantic. It's a new title for Xbox that's coming out. I should get alpha access, so I should tell. I'm really excited about it. It's right up my alley. I really like multiplayer PvP style games that aren't your typical mill sims and stuff like that. So I'm really excited about that. I bought Slender Man. I'm going to do a review of it this weekend. So I'll let you know. It's a re-release of the original Slender Man on Xbox, and then I also bought. If you guys like XCOM or haven't played it before, I highly recommend getting it on. If you have an iPad 2 or higher, iPad Mini 2, or anything above, I think Gen 3 on iPad. You can get XCOM Enemy Within, the new one, for $5, and I think the old one's $5 too, which is a steal for that game. And it plays. It's probably one of the best mobile releases of a game I've ever seen in my life.
There's isn't everything 2K is on sale on Steam right now, isn't it?
I'm sure
yes,
it is.
I
don't think
developer.
I don't think it's on sale. I think that's just the price point for it. No.
But I think Steam is having like a developer sale right now, and it was 2K.
Okay.
Because they were doing I think last week was Ubisoft. I think it's a 2K sale right now, so I think you're right on that.
So, anyways, I feel like we're dragging this out. Is there anything on the channel that anybody have any questions we can answer while we're on there?
I want to say shout out to Play Hard Mode for tuning in. Hard Mode says that he or she, I shouldn't assume, was disappointed in Battlefield Hard Mode.
Really?
Which, I don't play shooters, so I would have been disappointed in it regardless. But
well, definitely not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction rather than the other direction. So, but fair enough.
Cool.
Hey, feel free to send your gripes. Find us on Twitter at Entertainment is Dead. You can send one directly to me if you want to talk about Battlefield at Chuck Sweat. Arthur, what's yours?
At _diplomat.
Okay. Tom?
Kade, I'm at Tom Swinkley. I might change it to at Gingerbeard though, because I'm pretty excited about having a big red beard. And then Kade, call your RoboClip at RoboClip.
At RoboClip, correct.
It should all be on the screen right now anyway.
And it sounds like we're going to be hitting some gaming together pretty soon, Kade. You got to add me up on Steam, and we'll do some steaming.
And if you, by chance, play MOBAs, and by MOBAs I mean Smite.
I have Smite. I'm terrible at it, but I have it.
I haven't played it yet,
I
but I like MOBAs.
Get Bloodborne, get Smite. I will bet my firstborn child, which is almost here, that you will like both those games.
They're awesome. All right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Happy night. I'm going to mute some microphones, go to black, and try to figure out the rest of my life.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, thanks for having me.